Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 137 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. I saw some happy birthdays in the comments. Appreciate that. Thanks, Julie and Tristan and Jerome. Lots of happy birthdays. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard. We do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with you guys, go through the same flow you guys do with your own shows and events and everything that you're working on. Two is to answer any of your questions. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, please leave them in the comments, and we'd love to chat about them. And then three, I always mention our three pillars, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. Lots of people in the chat tonight. It's nice to see all of you guys here. And yeah, definitely appreciate the birthday wishes. Before I forget, we have all the great StreamYard shows. So we got StreamYard Spotlight Thursday. It's the first Thursday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern with Dana and Kelsey, where they highlight you guys and the awesome shows you're producing, so other StreamYard folks can learn about you and improve their own shows. Then we got channel reviews with Dean Imman and Daniel Batal. That's the second Saturday of every month, where they'll review your channels and give great tips on how to grow on YouTube. Then we also have live stream reviews with Christian and Letitia, first and third Saturdays at noon PST. Julie, we have doing live stream Impact the second Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then for everything else, we got the open office in our Facebook group, 11 a.m. Eastern, with Mel and Julie to answer all your guys' questions. We have a good fun fact today. Feel free to answer it yourself. It's always fun seeing your guys' answers. Our fun fact was favorite meal to cook for yourself. What's yours, Dan?
So I imagine my answer is going to be somewhat similar to yours. It definitely takes a lot of time to cook, so I try not to cook too much, and when I do, it's very simple. So it's not my favorite meal to cook, but it's fast to cook, and therefore I cook it the most. It's just like plain brown rice for me, like any kind of meat, and then any sort of steamed vegetable, which is usually like huge fan of spinach, huge fan of asparagus, and that's pretty much all I eat. Or oatmeal, which is also extremely fast to eat. So anything fast and healthy is usually my favorite thing to cook. Kind of lame, right?
Yeah, mine is also pretty lame. Like Dan, speed is a consideration, and then also I just not a big fan of cooking in general. So in college I really liked hard-boiled eggs. I was a big fan of hard-boiled eggs, which are pretty simple, pretty quick. Yeah, nice. Like Chris is wondering if you really lift those weights, Dan. Dan does lift the weights.
Yeah.
Podcast PD says feature idea: use of Google fonts for on-screen elements. That's a cool feature suggestion. Podcast PD. I'd be curious if it sounds like Google fonts, so you'd use something from there. I'd be curious how many of you actually have like your own font that you've paid for or something like that. I'd be curious.
Yeah. Let's
see here if anyone has any interesting favorite meals. Podcast PD likes barbecue. Barbecue is I love barbecues. They're a good time.
Yeah, taste-wise, our meals are pretty crap compared to the barbecue. Like, I'm visiting my parents right now, and like every time I'm here, they make awesome meals, and they cook a lot of stuff on the barbecue, and it's outstanding. I just don't typically do that myself.
Thanks, Stuart. That's great to hear. Glad you're enjoying it. One thing we wanted to mention for tonight, like last week, is we've got a big summit coming up, a big event. It should be super exciting, so definitely don't miss it. The Level Up Summit. I've got a link for it as well. The keynote for it is going to be Gary Vaynerchuk, which should be exciting. He'll be giving great tips to grow your brand with live video, which should be a lot of fun. And then me, Dan, and Jorge will be doing some feature announcements. There'll be some big features that we're announcing during the event, so you'll definitely want to catch that. I actually have let me see. I think I got a little picture for it that I can quickly show you guys. Yeah, the Level Up Summit this Thursday, August 26th, 9 a.m. Pacific. So definitely catch that one. I'd be curious how many of you saw the first one of those that we did.
Cool. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. You're getting compliments, Stuart. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. Hey, Mario, we share a birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Cool.
We had quite a few questions for you guys tonight as well, and one of those was around individual video tracks. So this has come up quite a few times in these chats. Is right now we have the ability to download the individual audio files, and many of you have asked for videos as well. We were curious what exactly, so we have some idea of how you'd use those video files, but I'm curious how many of you would just want the individual tracks to go use another software versus being able to do things with those video files in StreamYard itself. So essentially using those files to maybe recreate certain parts of the show and do some basic editing, or if you just want the tracks and you have your own setup for that. Would be curious to know.
Cool. Or any other unique use cases.
Yes, absolutely. Josh says, will there be an option to watch the Level Up Summit on replay, perhaps in the Facebook group for those who cannot make the live presentation? Yes, just make sure you RSVP for it, Josh. Just go to that StreamYard.com/SY Level Up Summit, or whatever one I linked.
Whatever the link was.
SY Level Up, yeah.
Cool.
And as long as you RSVP for that, you'll get a link to the recordings afterwards. But live's always best. There'll be networking too, which is cool. We'll be using Hopin for the event, so you'll be able to. It's a trilingual event, so that's another thing I should have mentioned too. So we have the networking setup where if you're trilingual, you'll match with other trilingual people. If you just speak Portuguese, you'll match with Portuguese people, so you can meet other live streamers. So definitely try to catch it live if you can. Let's see here. Thanks, Stephen. Glad you made it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good talks at the first summit. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good time. We also did both of us, Dan and I also did the networking, which was fun to chat with some users. Cool. Dean says, same old question. Any word on hotkeys or something similar? Dashboard UI shortcuts, hotkeys. Yes, Dean. It's been a request for a long time, and we are working on. First, it will be hotkeys. In the future, we might give some more flexibility around like changing the order of things on screen and stuff like that. But they are coming. Tristan's a fan of the video files. I'd be curious, maybe you answered it later, Tristan, if you would use them entirely outside of StreamYard, or if being able to do some editing would be useful in StreamYard as well. Yeah. Joe says, are you looking into adding Safari as a compatible browser for StreamYard? So you can actually use Safari on mobile, Joe, and in fact, you have to if you're on iOS. On the browser itself, what are your thoughts on that one, Dan? I don't think
so StreamYard does work on Safari, just Safari's technology is a lot worse. So the show ends up being quite a bit worse. So we've definitely played with it, and we might turn it on for everyone. It's just a trade-off between like the ease of use and making sure it's the best experience, because it's Chrome's a lot better. So yeah, but we're definitely open to it. Like we have built it to work on Safari in the browser. We just haven't turned it on. But yeah, curious to get your thoughts if you're like, really, really want it, even if the experience is slightly worse. Definitely curious to know that.
Absolutely. Sounds like most folks would use it in other programs outside of StreamYard, which is good to know. This reminds me of a question. SCD says, are we still using Google Slides and screen sharing? So you can definitely screen share Google Slides if you're asking if we have an ability to like upload PowerPoints. We don't have that yet, but we did have a question tonight for those of you. And I know Dean's in the chat. I know Dean. I know. Feel free to share it anyways, Dean. But I know your answer to it, which was for slide sharing. Curious how many of you, when you're sharing slide decks, where it's essentially just static images and text versus having GIFs or videos in the slide deck, animations. Curious for those of you doing slide shares during your streams, which one is the case for you?
Yeah. And are you usually screen sharing like a PowerPoint? Is it sometimes a PDF? Is it Google Slides?
Let us know. Dean says, any word on, or troubles connecting to group destinations, any word on when it will be fixed again? I'd be curious, Dean, if you email us, contact@streamyard.com, the specifics of the types of connections issues you're having with groups. We'd certainly like to fix it.
Yeah, I know there has been a few weird issues with groups recently, just on like the Facebook side that we're trying to find workarounds for. Fortunately, it doesn't affect too many people, but maybe Dean, you've been affected by it. But if you haven't reached out to support, definitely do that, and they should be able to help. If you already have, then we're probably already looking at it.
Nancy says, I use Canva presentations with animations. Good to know. It sounds like Christian does as well, using Canva for slide sharing. It supports playing GIFs, embedding tweets. That's a cool one. And bringing them directly into StreamYard.
Cool.
Sounds like Stuart's sticking with the static images. Good to know. SCD says, StreamYard Teams still coming? Yes, Teams is coming very, very soon, so stay tuned. which will also allow for co-hosting, which I know has been a really popular request for a long period of time. So let's see here. Michael says, please give us a theme with a full page of comments. Then we don't see folks looking at the second monitor. Do you understand that one, Dan? Like, do you mean, Michael, do you literally mean like the entire screen is just
a comment?
Comments? Let us know.
Or just, the comment text of the whole screen, maybe.
Oh, like one, yeah. Like
yeah, so like you wouldn't see us in the background. It would just be full comment. Maybe let us know, Michael.
All right. Another question we had for you guys tonight was we have the blog post now. We also have like a getting started webinar, but we're looking to make more and more content to support you guys, and we want to make sure we're working on stuff that's useful. So we're curious what live streaming subjects, or not even necessarily just live streaming, if it's anything involving marketing or content marketing in general, like, could be like building an email list or setting up that, like anything involving anything that's connected to how you're using StreamYard. Curious what kind of stuff you'd like to learn more about and what would be useful for us to start creating a content about, whether it's more blog posts or new webinars or events. Just curious to learn more from you guys, how we can be helpful there.
Yeah.
Dice Grinder says, feature request adjustable timer. I'm assuming, Dice, you mean the built-in countdown timer. We mostly added that just as like a sample, a demo for people to use, and we were excited when we saw that people were actually pretty regularly using it for their live stream. So we'd certainly like to make it either give more countdowns or make that one more flexible as far as choosing the countdown time and stuff. So yeah, that's a great request. Joey Batista says, can you recap on what's new? I just jumped in. We haven't made too many announcements tonight, Joey, but some of the recent features that have been added to StreamYard, one is the drag and drop for brand assets on the corner there. So you used to have to like re-upload them and delete the old ones, and now you can drag and drop them. Other one is pre-recorded streaming. So you can now, upload videos, stream them out at a later date. Those are the two most recent ones. And we're also testing infinite scrolling comments. And if any of you want to be in the beta testers group for that, or just in the beta testers group in general, we're going to continue the folks that are testing that. We're going to continue testing some things that need to be tested with that same group. So if you're interested in that, feel free to email contact@streamyard.com.
Cool. And we will be announcing something at the event as well.
Yes.
So that's on Thursday, right?
This Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Cool. Hey, Tangerine, nice to see you here. Happy Sunday to you. Chantel says, I'd love to be able to have comments available when the brand tab is open or not. Yep, absolutely, Chantel. That was sort of briefly talked about that before. We'd like to potentially have things pop out, or you'd be able to rearrange things. So we're definitely testing different layouts there and putting it in front of people to see what they think. Bishop Donald Oliver says, problem connecting more than one Twitter account. Is that Twitter or SY? So with Periscope, it's definitely difficult because you want to speak to it. Dan, you probably have a better sense of it.
Yeah, it's tricky. You can do it on two browsers. So I don't know if it's Twitter or Periscope per se. I think it's actually Periscope. Essentially, if you log in and you connect a Periscope account and then you want to do it to another one, you have to like log out of your first account, log into the other one. But when you log out of the first one, all like connections to apps are broken with Periscope. So the StreamYard Periscope connection would be broken when you log out. But if you were to go into another, and I believe this works, if you go into another browser, so Firefox, even I think incognito Chrome window, and connect that second Periscope account, you should be able to stream to both. And then like you can still stream from Chrome. You just need to do the connection on Firefox or another browser, and don't log out of your existing Periscope account on Chrome. And also don't log out on Firefox, because that's kind of what breaks it, as far as I know, unless they've changed something there. So it's possible, but it is tricky.
And hopefully, and it's another thing we mentioned last time, Bishop Oliver, is we are going to be migrating soon to the new Twitter API. So I don't know if it's going to necessarily have the same sort of workaround requirements there for streaming to multiple. So who knows? Maybe that will change things. Stuart says, when I post lower third data on my page, the subtitles obscure that information. What's a good workaround for this? So unfortunately, there's not a great workaround, Stuart. If it's lower third data that you're doing with an overlay, I mean, I'm sure you already know, you could just position it in a different location or disable the subtitles, which I know is not a great solution. Any other thoughts on that one, Dan?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a whole lot else you can do there.
Yeah. No, that
we'll think on it. See if we have any other ideas. Podcast PD says, will audio only streams to Twitter Spaces be in the cards? I'd be super curious, Podcast PD, what StreamYard would add to that for you. So like with Twitter Spaces, I mean, you can kind of just go in a space and start streaming your audio. I'd be curious what in StreamYard would be useful to enhance it. But if there is a way for us to enhance Spaces, we certainly would love to integrate with it in that way. But let us know. I'd be super curious what you're thinking.
Yeah, or maybe it's just like you're already doing a show on StreamYard and you want to also send it to Twitter Spaces, just as another channel. That would make sense to me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like you're just doing your live stream and you also want it to be. That's a really I should have thought of that. That's a good point. But yeah, if that opportunity ever presents itself, we always want to make sure we integrate deeply in wherever we can with the social platform. So we're certainly open to it.
Yep.
Joey Batista says, question, will StreamYard ever work with Facebook to get rid of comment permission? When you post here, that's a requirement for certain types of group, or it might be all. Is it all groups or just private? It's all groups.
Yep.
So unfortunately on that one, Joey, it is a Facebook requirement. We'd love to give that, leave that up to you. Like if people wanted to have that as a requirement, that would be up to them. But unfortunately, we're not able to offer that. If that ever changes, we certainly will change how it works. But right now, it's just a Facebook requirement that we're not really able to work around.
Yeah.
Stefan says, Geige and Dan, any chance of making the assets into 2 columns instead of 1 long column? I did see a couple of those tonight. I'd be curious how many other folks do prefer 2 columns instead of 1. We're certainly open to it. We might make it a setting or something like that where you can switch between the 2 of them. All right. Another thing we had for tonight is it's not super relevant now because we don't have it built into StreamYard, but we were curious for right now if after the stream's over, you can obviously download it. But if you're just trying to send the file to someone else, like say you work with an editor and you're trying to send them that video file, we understand that it's a bit of a pain to have to download it and re-upload it. So we were considering doing something where you could just send a link to a past StreamYard stream so that you could work more easily with other folks. And very specific question, but we were curious what default privacy you guys would like to see, assuming we actually did go ahead and add something like that. For example, the one option would be to have the default privacy just sort of be unlisted, like YouTube, where anyone with that link could access it. And then a greater privacy level would be where you had to actually add the person by email to have access to the video. Any other questions on that one, Dan?
I don't think so.
Cool. So let us know. Do Good Mind says feature request 360 video and image integration for streaming and uploading files. That's a cool request that we don't actually get that often. Do you have any thoughts on the 360 video stuff, Dan?
No, that's cool. I'm not sure exactly how we would do it, but it is. Yeah, that's interesting. That doesn't come up very often.
We haven't explored it much, Do Good, but as more and more cameras start to support 360 video and it becomes a more popular streaming format, we're certainly open to working to support all the different types of formats that people are using. Stuart says, can we download our actual overlay / brand assets we've uploaded? Downloading gives you only a thumbnail rather than the asset.
Interesting. So there's definitely ways to do it. But it would be a bit tricky. And I assume when you're talking about downloading, you're talking about right-clicking downloading. There's ways where if you're playing the video, you could in theory right-click download. You'd need to be able to inspect the page though. So it's not trivial to do, unfortunately. Or look in your network tab on Chrome, and then you could kind of get it from there if you really need it for something. But not easily, no. But
but it is something, it wouldn't be too hard for us to add. So you never know, Stuart. Maybe at some point we will make it easier for you to actually go back and download that stuff. But yeah, like Dan said, not a super simple way to do it now.
Yeah, and definitely curious. just what the use case is. Like, did you upload it on one device and now you want to be able to download it on another device because you need to edit it on that device or something? Or, you uploaded it 6 months ago and you don't have the original file anymore and you want to get it again. Very curious.
Joe says, do you guys have any kind of sponsorship opportunities, like an offer code for viewers? We do have a referral program, Joe. We haven't actually mentioned it in a long time, but every single StreamYard user, if you go to, I'm not even going to remember now where to find it. If you click in the top right, I think there's in the drop down there's something called referrals. And you have your own custom link. Everyone has their own custom link. So we obviously really appreciate it if you want to share the product, and it will give, say you share it with a friend of yours and they sign up for the product, they will get, is it $10 off, Dan?
Correct.
They'll get $10 off. And if they upgrade and pay for an account, you will end up getting a $25 in credit. So essentially a free month if you're on basic, or $25 off if you're on pro.
Yep.
Sounds like for podcast PD, it was pushing audio only. Yeah, that's a great point. I should have thought of that. And it's a really cool idea. So yeah, we'll certainly see what's possible to do there.
Cool. But yeah, you're right. We don't talk about the referral program much. A lot of people are able to just use StreamYard for free because of it.
Yeah, it is cool. Like if you have a decent following, yeah, it's pretty easy to accumulate enough credit where StreamYard's on the house, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like quite a few people prefer the 2-column layout, which is good to know.
Cool. And I'm also curious why it just compresses a little more in. It's like when we were initially chatting with a bunch of users about it, the sense was it actually takes up the same amount of space. The images are a little smaller, but it takes up the same amount of space, and then you can scan it really easily when you're going down the page, so you can find what you're looking for a lot faster. That was sort of the sense we got, but I know people are also used to the 2 columns. So
I apologize about that, Boston. My mistake. I was recently talking to someone with the last name Batista, so I guess I had it on my mind. My apologies. All right, should we go ahead and do our giveaway for tonight, Dan?
Cool. Let's do it.
Looks like most of you already know the drill here, but yeah, for anyone new here, we do these giveaways always during these town halls. And if you type in #TheYard, you'll be eligible to win. We'll give you guys a little bit of time here to get in your entries. And this tool is available for you guys to use as well in your own streams. If you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway, you can actually access this tool and just screen share it to run your own giveaways. SC says, is it possible to make a way to move the host picture from the left side to the right or bottom left to the bottom right when sharing?
Cool. So not right now. So I think when you're talking about screen sharing like this, moving Geige and I to the right side instead of the left side, let us know if that's what you're thinking. Not right now, but that's something we've considered exploring to kind of make just a little more customization.
Freedom Patriot says, #ask, where is Geige and Dan located? Normally we're both in Washington, the state of Washington in the U.S. Right now Dan's visiting his folks up north in BC. Let's see here. Charles says, feature request after stream, have a 1-minute clip from promo, can edit a section to show what you missed. That's a cool idea. Charles, I'd be curious how, if you would just want AI for us to choose a few cool segments of the stream and just try to make a best effort promo clip, or if it's just an editor yourself that you'd want. Let us know.
Sweet. Give it another 10 seconds or so.
Sure. Lots of entries here. I enjoy having the infinite scroll now because I can actually go back and find the old comments after all the #the yards come in.
Yes. All right, we're probably good here.
Cool.
What are we giving away, by the way, guys?
That's a good question. That's kind of important, isn't it? So we'll give away the StreamYard plush duck, Puddles the plush duck, and also give away. We'll give away the T-shirt Dan's wearing and a StreamYard mug. So we'll get Puddles the duck, the black StreamYard tee, and the mug. So let's go ahead and do it.
Let's do it. Good luck, everyone.
Need to add a drum roll. Patrick, congrats. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Dana will reach out to you on Facebook to get your info and ship you Puddles the Duck, the T-shirt, and the mug. So congrats.
Awesome. Congrats, Patrick.
Joe has a feature request. Easy way to create a poll on the fly built in somehow. I'd be super curious, Joe, if polls are the type of thing where you'd want it to be integrated on the platforms themselves, like do something where it used the chat from the social platforms, or if you'd want it where you could just share a link essentially where people would actually navigate to that link, like a StreamYard link to submit that poll. The advantages of that being that you could actually like require them to put in their email or verify who they are and stuff like that. Curious how you'd want that to work. Sounds like quite a few people are fans of the promo clip. That's cool.
Cool.
Nancy says, I noticed the difference between the show notes in StreamYard and YouTube. Does it sync? Not 100. You understand that one? Maybe let us know a little bit more detail, Nancy. If it's something like what maybe the description or something like that, I assume that's a mistake we made, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, let's see. There's probably time for one final question I had here, so I'll ask it for you guys, which was curious. Like we've asked quite a bit about video editing tools, but curious what tools you guys use to actually make videos. Like Canva. Obviously, I know some people use Canva, but curious how many of you are using like what's the Adobe product that does it? Dan, is it
Illustrator,
After Effects, maybe?
Or like Spark.
Spark's a tool for making videos. But yeah, curious what you obviously all of you, or I would assume all of you, are using StreamYard to make some types of videos. But curious for like video intros, stuff like that. What tools you use, or maybe you just use Fiverr. Curious what your process is for those videos. And
are you specifically thinking video intros, or also like videos you would just post on social media directly?
Yeah, I guess that too. And I'm just curious in general the tools that people are using for creating videos.
Cool.
Sounds like Sebastian would like it integrated in StreamYard so you can see the stats. Good to know. Also sorting the broadcast list. I assume that's on the dashboard for what's upcoming and whatnot. Certainly like to make that easier to navigate. Thanks, Dean. That's kind of you. Sounds like quite a few folks are a fan of having integrated polls. That's super good to know. Jordan uses Final Cut Pro. Awesome.
Cool. And I'd be interested, are the tools you're using for video creation, is it mostly for editing? Like you already have a video and now you're editing it, kind of making something else? Or is it like from scratch, you're making some new thing to post on social media or to use as an intro? Because there's definitely different programs for different things. But they all feel like a little similar, I find.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's tons on here that I haven't heard of. I'll have to go back through this list. Thank you guys for sharing all the different ones. Apple Motion. Like, have you ever heard of Apple Motion, Dan? I'll have to check that one out.
Nope.
Very cool. Christian says, is there any payment method other than credit cards? No, it's just credit cards at the moment. You could get a one-time or a prepaid credit card at like a gas station or something, but right now it's just credit cards. All right, let's see if there's time for one last one. Sophian says, any tweaks on banners to not hide 5-person camera? I know we use banners to show the subject we were talking about until the next one. Any thoughts on that one, Dan? If there is an option, Sophian, assuming I'm understanding your question, to what's it called then? Like move in the settings. If you click the settings inside the studio, there's an option under general that says shift videos up for comments/banners. And if you check that, when you show a banner, all the videos will move upwards and make room for people on screen. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, hopefully that helps.
All right, this was episode 137 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you check out the summit this week, and we'll see you next week at the same time, Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Cool. Hope to see you at the event. See you, everyone.